This is a study on temptation, James 1:13-15, drawing insights from Dr. Scofield, Dr. J. Vernon McGee, and Matthew Henry. The text, James 1:13-15. 13. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. 14. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. 15. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. First, God's nature in temptation. According to Dr. Scofield, God is inherently good and cannot be tempted by evil. This underscores the belief that God is free from any moral weakness or susceptibility to sin, which sets him apart from humanity. 2. Human responsibility. Dr. J. Vernon McGee emphasizes that temptation does not originate from God. Instead, individuals should recognize their own role in succumbing to temptation. This reinforces the idea that humans are accountable for their actions and choices. 3. The source of temptation. Matthew Henry notes that temptation arises from within us, specifically from our own desires. He highlights that it is our internal cravings and inclinations that lead to temptation, rather than external forces or divine influence. 4. Desire and enticement. James explains that each person is dragged away by their own evil desires. This metaphor indicates a struggle where desires can overpower reason and self-control, leading individuals to actions they might otherwise avoid. 5. Conception of sin. Dr. Scofield points out that once desire is entertained, it can lead to sin. The process of temptation is likened to conception. The desire must be nurtured before it results in sin, emphasizing the importance of guarding one's thoughts and desires. 6. The birth of sin. Matthew Henry elaborates that sin, once conceived, grows and develops. This progression showcases how unchecked desires can evolve into sinful actions, illustrating the gradual nature of moral decline. 7. Sin's consequences. According to James, when sin is full grown, it leads to death. This is not only a spiritual death, but also potentially physical and relational consequences, highlighting the severe repercussions of allowing sin to thrive. 8. Spiritual death. Dr. J. Vernon McGee interprets this death as the separation from God that occurs when one lives in sin. It serves as a warning about the spiritual dangers of yielding to temptation and the importance of maintaining a close relationship with God. 9. The cycle of temptation. Matthew Henry suggests that temptation leads to a cycle of sin and death. Understanding this cycle can help individuals recognize the need for vigilance and self-control in their spiritual journeys. 10. Prayer and resistance. To combat temptation, believers are encouraged to seek God's help through prayer and to cultivate a strong spiritual life. Dr. Scofield advises that relying on God's strength and wisdom is essential in resisting the pull of evil desires. Conclusion. Living by the truth of James 1:13-15. Understanding temptation is pivotal to spiritual growth. The wisdom in James 1:13-15, supported by the insights of Dr. Scofield, Dr. J. Vernon McGee, and Matthew Henry, reveals that God is holy and cannot tempt anyone. Temptation arises from within, from our own desires. This truth removes excuses and calls believers to personal responsibility. Sin is not an instant act, it is a process. It starts with unchecked desire, which eventually leads to enticement, conception, and the birth of sin. Left unchallenged, sin grows into a force that leads to destruction and separation from God. This passage is not merely a warning, it is a roadmap for victory. Victory over temptation is possible, but it requires intentionality. Recognizing the cycle is the first step. Prosody. The next is spiritual discipline. Through prayer, resisting temptation, and seeking God's wisdom, believers must guard their hearts, renew their minds with Scripture, and rely on God's power rather than their own strength. Ultimately, the goal is transformation. A student of this passage should not only understand it, but live by it, applying its lessons daily. Let this study be a call to action, to acknowledge temptation, take responsibility, and lean on God to overcome it. Doing so leads to a life of holiness, wisdom, and enduring faith. Would you like to add any personal reflections or applications to this conclusion?